Okay, so how many of you were in the San Antonio one that we did the rehab session on last time we were in San Antonio? Okay, so I did one there as well, and it went pretty good. I don't think we had this many people, so this is nice to have this good of a turnout. I hope we give you all the information that you need. Where's the- So I'm with Self-Help Home Improvement up in Northern California, the real Northern California, which is a lot closer to Oregon, San Francisco, Sacramento. People are like, that's Northern California. That's not Northern California. That's more central. So we're a lot farther up, and we're in the Shasta and Tehama County area. I do have some maps to show you that as well. So myself, I've been a general contractor since 2005. I have worked at SHIP for 21 years. I am the construction supervisor. I'm also the rehab program manager, and I'm lead, mold, and asbestos certified. How many people are certified in the lead and asbestos, mold, and all that? A few of you? Okay. That's a really tough area to be certified in. It's pretty hard to get certified and stuff. You have to take a lot of classes, but it can also get you in trouble if you don't do it properly too. So you have to be aware of what you're looking at and stuff. So that's kind of my background. SHIP's program, so you can see we're up in the northern portion of California. We deal with Shasta, Tehama County. We actually tried doing Trinity County at one point, but we weren't getting enough feedback and enough people that were interested in the program. So we kind of just got rid of it, and we just strictly deal with the Shasta and Tehama County. We have a lot of programs. We have energy and weatherization programs. So we had some other people saying that they utilize the weatherization programs to help eat those costs up, and we have the exact same thing. So we can do heating and air conditioning, we can do all kinds of stuff, doors, windows with those programs. We also have a energy assistance program from PG&E. Everybody aware with PG&E, their big old thing going on in California right now. So we have a weatherization program that we contract through, and we weatherize homes on their behalf. And that's another one of the programs we can leverage with some of our funding. So we have a lot of stuff that we can utilize in our office, and it basically helps us leverage a lot, eat up those costs so we don't have to use as much of the other funding. The utility assistance too, so we also have a program that helps pay people's bills, wood, propane, stuff like that as well. Kind of messed up on that one. SHIP's overview, we have helped with over 30,000 households in Shasta and Tehama County for the past 40 years. SHIP is a 26 employee organization with a $4 million annual operating budget. On average, we weatherize or repair 1,800 homes and assist 1,500 residents with their utility payments. So we kind of do quite a bit in our little bit of a community up there. And these are the programs that we utilize quite a bit. Okay, so the rehab program, the self-help program, rehab program is funded by the USDA Rural Development and or USDA Housing Preservation Grant. Does anybody here use HBG funds? You guys use HBG? Okay. So we use a lot of HBG funds. I don't know of a lot of people that get them, but we tend to get quite a bit of the funds from that. And it's, sometimes we get anywhere from 80,000 up to, I think this last one we got was about 160 some thousand in HBG funds to use. We actually use quite a bit of that. And HBG funds are used with leveraging. We leverage with all these weatherization programs that we have. And so that kind of helps. So in order to do some projects, if we don't have any of that, we can't leverage or use those funds. So it makes it difficult. And that's where we go into trying to get people grants or loans. The loans and grants are provided to make repairs on homes located in designated rural areas. And for a 2-year period, we went from about 42 jobs for a 2-year period, and we've lowered that down to about 32 to 34. We actually are working with 2 grants right now. We used to have a new construction, And we were having the problem that a lot of people are suffering from, which is the development of land, the cost. It just wasn't working out. So we got rid of that program and we turned it into another rehab grant. It's really hard to do two at one time. It's hard to find the people, it's hard to get everything going. We may end up going back to one grant. It's really hard with trying to figure out. There's only two of us that run the program. I'm actually kind of jealous because I've been listening to everybody all week about, oh, I've got a person that does this, I've got a person that does that. Well, let me explain to you what I do. So, I'm the construction supervisor. I go out, I look at the jobs, I see what needs to be done, I come back, I do the estimate to see how much it's going to cost. I also package the grants. I set the jobs up. Got one other guy that's a supervisor that he goes out and works with the homeowners. When I'm not doing that stuff, I'm also out there working with the homeowners as well. But I do pretty much all of it. I don't have one other person that helps me package grants, do paperwork, call people, do any of that. And I'm hearing everybody else going, oh, I've got this and that. So I'm just saying it must be nice because it's a lot of work to do all of it yourself. So anyways, we're at 32 to 42 jobs, and right now 32 and 34 is our grants. Again, we started the rehab program in 1995. The reason that we started it was because of the health and safety concerns that we couldn't address with the weatherization programs. In our community, we have a lot of people in the rural areas that their homes are just falling apart. And so when our weatherization programs would go out, they would basically come up with all these huge issues that couldn't be addressed under the weatherization program. They're very limited as to what they can do. So we started the rehab program just because of that. And it's worked out really well ever since. I mean, we've got basically just tons of people that are needing our assistance. So challenges that we run into, elderly homeowners. We were talking up here about the labor, okay? It can be volunteer. So with the elderly homeowners, what's hard is they don't have maybe any family or friends or anybody around. So we have to try to find somebody to help them with doing their work. Myself, I'm active in the Kiwanis. Does anybody know what Kiwanis is? Understand? Okay. So I'm an active board member on Kiwanis. It helps, it's a nonprofit that helps kids with food and stuff like that. So we basically help kids that are less unfortunate to get food and backpacks from school. They take food home with them and everything. And everybody on our Kiwanis is all volunteer. So they would love and they enjoy coming out and volunteering on these projects. So that's one way that we utilize getting volunteer help. Also churches, we get a lot of help from churches, neighborhoods. I always tell the homeowners, hey, tell them that you'll cook them dinner. They'll come over. You gotta find a way to do it one way or another. Income eligibility, we found out that since they've changed things on the 504 grants, it's making it a lot harder to qualify people. I don't know if anybody's had that issue as well, but we've ran into a lot of problems with people that only make, $1,300 a month, and you try to go through there and you try to qualify them, and unless they have a lot of debt, you're kind of stuck. So we have a huge issue with the giving people the 504 grants. And then the economy, things change, we understand that, and we try to deal with that. So a few pictures in here of some of our projects. Again, the acquisition, rehab, you go and you buy a house, it's really not run down, but this is the type of stuff that we run into when we're doing the owner occupied. So if you look at this, you can see people are living in this. And so this is what we run into, this is what we're working with. You can see that the roofs are just falling apart. In our area, that's the number one thing that we get a call for, is roofs. Roofs and handicap accessibility. Solutions, again, finding volunteer help. That was what I was talking about. We use the Kiwanis, we use churches and everything. We try to do more outreach. Somebody was talking about how do you get the program out there. I'm trying to work with that. One way is I found is that the real estate companies, they volunteered to say that they could put our information on their real estate page, just for the fact that When that goes out, you may find a homeowner that's losing their home and wants to sell it because they can't afford to maybe put a new roof on it or do something. So that actually benefits us because we can possibly help them keep their home rather than having to sell it and get out of it. And then lowering our units per 2 years, which I'm aware, since I've been here, I've learned a lot that we may not have to do that. So we'll figure that out down the road. Some more pictures. You can see here we've got the homeowners working up on the roof. You got 2 ladies here that are stripping their roof, working on it. And this is some pictures from the other ones. We've got the guy over here in the wheelchair helping work on his wheelchair ramp. And you can just see what a mess we sometimes run into. Just everything's just falling apart. Successes. Homeowners staying in their homes. That's what our goal is try to keep them in their homes, keep their house from falling down around them. Teaching them how to maintain their homes. That's the biggest thing. Once you go in and you teach them how to do all this stuff, it's great because then that gives them more to go after and try to fix other stuff up. I've gone back to houses after we've been there and driven by, and it's even better than it was before. The neighborhood's gotten better, so it benefits everything. Accessibility, ramps, showers. One quick story that I was going to say that kind of like when I first started this and coming to this in '98, I didn't really know a lot about the rehab, but what really hit me was my first job that I did when I took it over and realized that this program is needed. That I went into a lady's house and she had called us out and she said that I haven't been out of my house in years to check my own mail. Okay, she was in a wheelchair, she was housebound, she had no way to get out, she had no ramp, no nothing. And she'd been like this forever. So she had to rely on somebody to get her mail, to get her food, to get all that. So we went in and we helped her get a ramp. We got the volunteers in, we did it all. She was finally able to go out and check her own mail. And so after doing that, I was like, this program is what it's supposed to be. And that was the one that sticks with me today because knowing somebody can't get out of their house is hard to take. So let's see what we got. More pictures. This is the handicap bathroom that we were doing. The accessibility, it's hard to see, but make it to where he can actually wheel in and out of his sink. So, making it very accessible for people. This is, you can see there's nothing left on this roof. Granules are completely gone. He waited for a long time. This gentleman here really hit us hard too. His wife had just passed away. He didn't want to get rid of the house, and so we showed up, and I mean, this guy was a worker bee, and he wanted to keep it. I mean, this one of the nicest guys, and you can see he desperately needed it, really bad. And there's some more of the good old stuff. People are living in this. People were using, I don't know if you can see the toilet at the bottom, but it was actually leaning, held up by a log, and that's what they were using. So people live like that, and that's why we need these programs. Okay? Are we doing questions now, or are we doing them later? Do them after? Okay, we'll do questions after, so I'll hand the mic over, and thank you again.